These are examples of dehydrated media that you'll use if you are preparing your own media for the test. When preparing your own broth, you will have a vial and insert a Durham tube upside down and add the broth. Here are the vials with the tubes ready for use. We'll add the media and take it to the autoclave. This is a rack of vials that have been autoclaved at 15 minutes on slow exhaust, and the liquid has gone up into the Durham tubes. This is an example of lauryl tryptose broth bought pre-prepared with a Durham tube. EC media is also available this way. Make sure that neither of them have the mug in addition to the broth. These are wooden applicators that you can purchase and then autoclave them for use, or you can use this loop and flame it before each use. So we are picking the middle of blue colonies and transferring one colony to each lauryl tryptose broth tube. This is a positive plate with several colonies that have been taken off for verification. Also, remember that even though this one plate had plenty of colonies to choose from, your sample may not. So any sample where you have several dilutions and there are colonies on different plates of that same sample, you can use colonies across all the plates as long as they're the same sample from the same day. Now that one colony has been added to each vial, remove the applicators and place the caps back on the vials and place the rack in the 35-degree incubator. Tubes can be checked after 24 plus or minus 2 hours. If they have gas and growth, they could be transferred to the EC broth. If not, they can be incubated for an additional 24 hours. When incubating the lauryl tryptose broth tubes, remember that you can either use a water bath set at 35 plus or minus 0.5 degrees Celsius or an air incubator with a relative humidity of at least 60%. This rack has been incubated and all tubes are positive. There is turbidity indicating growth, and the liquid has been pushed out of the top of the Durham tube indicating gas production. Positive tubes will not always have this much liquid displaced from gas. Sometimes there will just be tiny bubbles at the top of the Durham tube. The amount of gas is not important, but just the fact that there are bubbles. These two tubes were incubated together. One is positive and one had no colonies added. Next, a single sterile applicator will be placed into each lauryl tryptose broth tube. Those applicators are each placed into a separate EC broth tube so that the growth in the lauryl tryptose can be transferred to the EC medium for confirmation. The EC vials will be incubated in a water bath incubator at 44.5 degrees plus or minus 0.2 degrees Celsius. The tubes need to be placed in the incubator so that the water level is at the top of the media. The incubation period is 24 plus or minus 2 hours. These are the positive EC tubes. You'll see they're very turbid and there is no liquid in the top of the Durham tubes. There's only gas. The two in the back are the controls that did not have any colonies placed in them, and there's a comparison of what the two look like. If any of the EC tubes do not have gas and growth at the end of 24 plus or minus 2 hours, you will need to adjust the results of your sample. If you wish to incubate the lauryl tryptose and EC media at the same time, first you will need to take a blue colony. You will place the applicator in the lauryl tryptose broth, swirl it around, then use the same applicator and place it into the EC broth and swirl that around. You will incubate the tubes as before with lauryl tryptose in a 35-degree incubator and the EC tubes in a 44.5-degree incubator. If after 24 plus or minus 2 hours the EC tubes are not positive, you will need to go back to the corresponding lauryl tryptose tube, get a new applicator, swirl it in the lauryl tryptose, and then swirl it into a new EC tube and incubate for another 24 hours. If after that next 24 hours the EC tube still does not have any gas, then that means the colony was negative for coliform and your results will need to be updated accordingly. Thank you for watching this video. We hope it has been helpful. Please remember that additional technical assistance can be found on technical assistance documents either from your auditor or on our website on the non-field guidance and technical assistance page.